welcome to all the participants in today's webinar. We'll just wait for a few minutes to allow other participants to join in and settle down, and then we'll get started with today's discussion. However, we are going to use this time, so it is not like we'll just be sitting quiet while we are waiting for other participants to join. We'll do some interesting and useful discussion during that time. Firstly, around this webinar, how are we going to conduct this webinar? So this is going to be a mixture of presentation plus live walkthrough because I have to explain to you the step-by-step process. So obviously I'll be taking you through the step-by-step process as well, and we'll use presentation to understand about the mandatory requirements and also to understand about ONDC. So that's how we are going to conduct this session. But more importantly, a lot of time participants or members curiously ask me this question that if we are going to invest 1 hour of our life or 1 hour of our valuable time, then what is the return? What is the benefit that you are going to get from this session? And that is a genuine question. So by attending or by investing your time in this session, you will understand firstly about ONDC and how it can benefit your business. That is something that I think by now there has been so much discussion, so much publication about ONDC. Most of us have understood that, but still we'll cover that minutely or a little bit. We'll talk about that, and then we'll understand about the process of enabling ONDC. It is a fairly elaborate process. So we'll understand. We'll go through each of the steps. So by attending this session or by investing your time, you will understand the process of listing your products on ONDC. And by having that knowledge, you'll be able to go through that process and then list your products on ONDC and then start selling them through ONDC. All right, so that was about this session. Now, there is a very important aspect, and there is something if you have attended my previous webinar, and I can see in the audience, there are a few of the participants whom have interacted with in my previous webinars. So this is something which I always share. So I'm also sharing it here once again, that it is important that you should be asking question, right? So if you are attending the webinar and just listening to me, that's where obviously you'll not be able to take back all this information, or you'll not be able to take back the entire information unless you are interacting, unless you are participating in an engaged manner. How can you participate in an engaged manner? By asking questions. How can you ask questions? So you can ask questions using the Q&A option. So down below, you'll see there's a option which says Q&A. So using that, you'll be able to ask your question. Now, we will also be using chat. So there's a chat option. We will also use that. We'll use that for two purposes. One is for our interaction. So if I want to understand what you think about something, or what is your opinion, what is your understanding, so for that we'll be using chat. The second use of chat is for networking. There are wonderful business owners who are also joining us here today. So you can use chat to connect and network with them. It is a wonderful opportunity that you have. And God knows you may be able to find a buyer or supplier in this session, right? So it's a networking opportunity. And trust me, this has happened. So it is not like I'm just making it up. It has happened in our previous webinars, wherein the participants were able to even crack a business deal during the session itself, right? So God knows you may be able to find a buyer or supplier, right? So use that opportunity. All right, so this is where I think I've spoken enough. Let's begin. One very quick point before we start the screen share. One is I'll just take a quick second to check if the live stream is working fine. It seems to be working fine, but I have to cross check. So let me quickly do that. So the live stream is working fine. Wonderful. Now, as I mentioned earlier, one quick point before I start the screen share and we get into the presentation and we get started. And there's a lot of items that we have to discuss in today's session, right? So it is going to be a full session. I'll try to squeeze the information as much as possible, but there are a number of steps that we have to go through. So it is a lot that we have to discuss today. So this is where we should get started. Sometime in my previous webinars, when I started sharing the screen, there were few participants who were experiencing issues with the screen share. So they were either seeing a black screen, or they were seeing a white screen, or they're not seeing anything. So in that case, what you should do is you should step out of the meeting, like leave the meeting, and then update the application. So if you're joining through your smartphone or a mobile device, in that case, update the application, and same goes for laptop and desktop as well. Predominantly, it happens because the application that you're using is not updated, and that's why the screen share may not be visible. Or if your internet connection is slow, so in that case, it may take a long time to load up. But other than that, there are no other issues that we have noticed. So if that happens, God forbid, in that case, you can do this fix, right? All right, so this is where we'll get started. I can see there are a number of participants who have already started doing the business networking. Wonderful, you should continue with that. And I am going to start sharing my screen. I can see there are a number of participants who have just joined. So let me welcome them as well. Good evening and a warm welcome to all the participants, especially the ones who have just joined in. Welcome to this webinar. And now I'm going to start sharing my screen. I have a bad throat, so please bear with me on that. I may not be as fluent, or you may find a little lack in energy. It is just that I'm a little bit under the weather. All right, so this is where let me get started with the screen share. Let me hide this one as well. So this were request to the participants. If anyone from the participants, for anyone from the audience can uh, help me know using the chat that you are able to see the screen. I have chat and Q&A open on the other monitor, so I'll be able to see your chat and your questions as well. And I will try to answer the questions as and when I'm able to see them. I'll just keep peeking on them. And if it is possible for me to answer that question then and there, I'll do that. If it is not possible, then we'll discuss that in the Q&A round. All right. So I can see there are a number of participants who are confirming that you are able to see the screen. Thank you for confirming that you are able to see the screen. All right. So this is where we are going to get started, and we will now firstly very quickly understand what ONDC. Although I believe that most of you already know about ONDC or have heard of ONDC, and you are interested to understand about ONDC, that's why you are here. Now, this is where I would want to know, I would want to understand what is your understanding, what is ONDC, right? Before I switch the screen and take you to a another slide where I have explained what is ONDC. But before that, just share with me, like you, it is not necessary that you have to be absolutely correct. Whatever is your understanding, whatever is your imagination about ONDC, just share that in the chat. I have a visibility there, so I'll be able to see. Right. So let me know, what do you think? What is ONDC in your understanding? Whatever is your imagination, and it is not necessary. Like, so it is not necessary that you have to be absolutely correct. You have to be absolutely accurate in your understanding. Whatever you think, and let me know using the chat option once again. So anyone from the audience? I'm waiting for your response. What do you think is ONDC? All right, so Ashiji has clarified it is Open Network for Digital Commerce. Wonderful. That is the full form of ONDC, uh, a single platform for help different marketplaces. Wonderful. Pangaji has shared his understanding. He is also right to a certain extent, but ONDC is not a platform. It's a good platform, but at an early stage, uh, It is actually ONDC is not a platform. That's what I wanted to clarify. So this were because I mentioned already that we don't have a lot of time. So let's move ahead. Thank you everyone for sharing your thoughts and participating in the webinar. That is more important that you're participating. That's why it remains engaging, and you'll be able to understand all this information that I'm sharing with you in a better way, right? So thank you for participating and sharing your thoughts about ONDC. So, ONDC, Open Network for Digital Commerce, is a revolutionary, it is a one of a kind initiative that we have in India. And as Indians, we should all be very proud of that. But how does ONDC work? So, first clarification, which I would want to share with everyone, is that ONDC is not a platform, it is a network. Now, if we have to understand how ONDC works and how it helps, let's understand it using a existing uh, solution similar to ONDC that we all use almost on a daily basis. In fact, you must have used it just prior to entering into this meeting, and that is email. Now, you may be using a Gmail email, and I may be using a Yahoo email or AOL email or something else. Different organizations, different technology solutions, different servers, and everything. But if you send me an email from your Gmail account, I'll get it on my Yahoo account, and vice versa. If I'm sending it to you using my Yahoo account, then you'll get it on your Gmail account or Rediff account, whatever you are using, right? How does that happen? So all this infrastructure is connected by a network, SMTP network. Similarly, ONDC is a similar network that is connecting entities which are broadly classified as seller network participants and buyer network participants. There are logistic and payment, etc. There are a few more, but primarily it is sellers and buyers. It is connecting them. It is linking, and there are obviously protocols associated with that, and there are rules for engagement as well. So it is not like anyone can do anything. There are rules for engagement. There are protocols laid down, clear protocols which are laid down, and based on that, this interaction is happening. Now, how does that help? That is something that we are going to understand using the presentation. So let's begin. Let's move on. Let's try to understand. About ONDC, sorry, I think I pressed the button twice. So firstly, let's understand why did we needed ONDC. So ONDC solved for a big problem that many of our businesses were facing. And in this chart, I've tried to elaborate onto that challenge, what we were facing. And almost everyone was facing it. Is not like if you're a small business, then only you're facing. Even the larger businesses were facing the same challenge, although because of their sheer size, they were able to navigate through it relatively easily as compared to a smaller business. But the challenge was there for everyone. Now, in this chart, if you look at to the right side of the screen, that's where you'll see there's a chart, and that's where we'll start from the bottom. That's where you are. This is the seller, and you want to sell digitally, right? So we are not talking about the physical retail. This is the digital retail. You want to sell online to people on the internet. How can you do that? There were two options which were available. One is you can create your own online store, you can create your own website, and through that you can sell. But to sell through your website, you have to do something called digital marketing, online promotions, online advertising. You have to do that, and only then you will be able to attract buyers. Otherwise, creating a website is almost like standing in middle of Sahara Desert and expecting sellers to come, right? So unless people know about your business, they'll not be able to come and they'll not be able to do business with you. So you have to attract them, and that's where you have to do digital marketing. Now, the other channel or the other option that was available to you was through marketplaces. So if you are listing on marketplaces, that's where you have to shell out commissions and then take care of returns and delayed payments, etc., etc. There were a number of challenges associated with that, and we are not going to discuss that. We are not here to discuss that. But that is where, if you are looking at what is the kind of business model and what is the kind of returns or ROIs you are getting. So if you're creating an online store, and if we are imagining a very aggressive conversion rate of 5%, that's where you need 2,000 visitors, 2,000 people to visit your online store, and 2,000 relevant people. It is not like anyone and everyone can visit, and then that's where you'll get the conversion. Relevant traffic is coming to your website. That's where you'll get 100 orders. But if you're imagining a 20 rupees per click cost, that is easily 40 to 50,000 rupees that you're investing every month in digital marketing to get that kind of business. And if you're listing on marketplaces and for same kind of volume, you'll end up spending some commission, and that way also vary from category to category. 15 to 20,000 commission plus returns plus delayed payment, etc., etc. So the number goes quite high as well. Now, how does ONDC solves this? So this is a diagram that I have put together to help you understand how does the ONDC solves the challenge. So this is where, again, you are the seller. On the side is where you can see you are the seller. Now, what you're doing is you're creating your online store. So in the previous model, also you were creating online store, but you're creating it through a seller network participant, which is GlobalLinker. So GlobalLinker is a seller network participant, and through that you are creating your online store, and then you are enabling it. You are switching on the ONDC, and once you have switched on the ONDC through the ONDC network, which you can see here, the products will start appearing on the buyer application. So there are buyer applications like Paytm, My Store, Spy Smart Store, Craftla, etc., etc. So on those buyer applications, your products will start appearing. Now, buyer applications bring in buyers, so they will attract buyers through various activities. And when buyers are coming to their platform, they will see your product and they'll place an order. Once that order is placed, it will again get transmitted through the ONDC network to your online store. You'll see that order, you'll pack that order, and you will deliver that order. Once the order is delivered and the return period is over, that's where the buyer application will make the payment, which is highlighted by this arrow, and it will come to GlobalLinker, and GlobalLinker will then transmit that money to you. So that's how the entire ecosystem works. You join and you start displaying your product on through the ONDC network on buyer applications, and then people place orders on buyer applications. They come to your online store, you pack them, deliver to the customer, and then you receive the payment for that. Now, here, if we look at the calculation, so essentially, whatever is the order value, you'll be getting that minus taxes. Now, what about the commission which is levied by the buyer application? So that is charged back from the customer. So it is essentially you're not paying that out of your pocket. It is taken from the customers. All right. So this is the ONDC construct I thought of sharing with you so that you're clearer in your understanding, and it will help you relate with the steps as well when we start discussing that. So this is where I'm going to minimize this presentation, and very quickly I am going to, let's hide this one, otherwise it will keep obstructing your view, and I'm going to take you to another presentation. So this presentation will help us understand what are the mandatory requirements which are there while we are enabling the ONDC. So what all aspects are there which we have to take into account, that we have to take into consideration. All right, so the first one is related to the store. So firstly, we have to switch it on the store. So what are these? So let's quickly understand, and then we'll move on to understand the step-by-step process. So add correct address and Google location. That is the first thing that you have to ensure on your online store. And don't worry, I am going to take you to the seller panel, and I'm going to show you where you'll be doing these updates. So don't worry on that. Let's understand what are the mandatory requirement at the store level. We are not going to product level. Product level is something that I'll be sharing later. This is the store level details. So you have to create, you have to add correct address and Google location. The next one is you have to activate at least one integrated logistic solution. The next one is you have to import and verify your GST number. The next one is you have to provide accurate bank account details. Why this bank account detail? That will be used for transferring the money to you. So you have delivered an order, the buyer app has paid us, we have to make payment to you. So that is why we need it. And lastly is we have to enable ONDC as well. So these are the store level requirements which are there. There are only 5 requirements that you have to comply with. So let's now switch the screen. We'll go to a demonstration account and we'll understand enabling all of these very quickly. All right, so let's switch the screen and we will go to the seller panel. So very quickly, where do we have the seller account? This is the demonstration account that we are going to use to understand our enablement process. So here we have to click on online store. That will open the seller panel. Now, if you're someone who hasn't created an online store yet, then you can create that. In fact, for your reference and for the benefit of the participants who haven't created an online store, what I'm going to do, you'll get the recording of this webinar certainly, and it will be a YouTube video. The recording, this webinar is getting live streamed on YouTube, and you'll get that recording. In the description of the recording, I'll add a link to a video where I've explained how to create a digital catalog. So in case you haven't created one, you'll be able to create that, and then you can do the steps that we are explaining in this video. All right. So this is where we are starting with the assumption that you have already created an online store, and now you want to switch on ONDC so that your products start appearing on the ONDC network, right? So that's what you are wanting to do. All right. So the first step is obviously to log into your account, and once you have logged in, then you have to click on this option which says online store, which will open the seller panel. Now let's do the first step, and that is we have to ensure that the address and the Google location is updated. And for that, in the left navigation, we have to click on store settings, and after that, we have to click on details. So once you click on store settings, you'll see it expands, and the first option is store details. You have to click on that, and that will open the store details tab. So it is getting opened. This is the store details tab. Now, the requirement was that we have to ensure that the address and the Google location is properly updated. And for that, we have to click here. This is where you can see the address. You have to click on that, and it will open this section. On the top, you have the address. You have to ensure that the address is updated properly. Now, in case you're wondering why the address is not updated here, because this is a demonstration of store, obviously. So in your case, you have to update the address here in case it is already not updated, and the Google location or Google location is critical because ONDC works on the location of the seller and the buyer. So that is where your Google location is critical. Please update it, and once you have updated the address, then save this as well. So once you have updated the address and the Google location, scroll down, click on save, and you're done with the first requirement. So this was the first requirement. The second was you have to ensure that at least one integrated logistic operator is enabled on your online store. From where can you do that? So here you can see courier on the same tab. You don't have to go anywhere else. Here, so you'll see address. Adjoining that is payment, and adjoining that is courier. So you can click on that, and it will open this page. On this page, you'll see courier services. You have to click on that, and this is where you can see the various logistic integrators. Sorry, I have to keep sipping water, otherwise my throat will give up. So we are on the logistic services page. So here you will see there are a number of logistic services which are pre-integrated. You have to ensure that we have enabled at least one. So either ShipRocket or Mama either of the two you can enable on your online store. So this was the second requirement that we had. The third is you should enable ONDC. So for that, we'll go to, or for the remaining three requirements, we'll be going to the enable ONDC tab, which you can see here. So we'll click on that. And here the first, now the third requirement is there, and that is GST number. So you have to input your GST number and verify it. So you have to click on add GST, and you'll see it will get you, or it will take you to another page. And here you have to input your GST number and submit it. It will get verified in a matter of seconds. Once it is done, you can come back here and you can move on to the next step, and that is adding your bank account. And as I mentioned earlier, we need this bank account to send the money to you. So imagine, and I'm just repeating it once again in case you're finding it boring. I'm just repeating it for everyone's reference. There may be a scenario someone was distracted and they haven't heard. So I'm just repeating for their sake. So just imagine that you have listed your products on ONDC, and someone has placed an order. You have received an order, and you have packed and dispatched and delivered the order to the customer. So the order has been delivered. Now the buyer application, after the end of return period, will transferred the money to GlobalLinker, which is the seller network participants you are joining through. And then GlobalLinker will transfer that money to your account. All right. So for transferring the money from what we have received from the buyer application to you, that is why we need your bank account details. All right. So this is where you have to input again basic details, your IFSC code of your bank, the bank name, branch, and the account number. You have to repeat the account number, and then you have to specify what type of account it is, whether it is a current account or a saving account. And then you have to input the account name, so the name in which or the name to which this account is associated. Once you have added that detail, then you have to input the beneficiary address. The beneficiary address is associated with the bank account. It is not your registered office address that you have to add. The beneficiary address or the address which is associated with that bank. Now, if it happens that the store address that you have added is same as the beneficiary address, then you can use this option and all the fields will get pre-populated. Otherwise, you can type it as well. It is not a big task. Once you are done, don't forget to click on enable, which you are seeing here. And then do read the terms of service. Don't blindly just select here. Read the terms of service. You can click on it. It is not a very large document that you'll need a lot of time to read it. You can easily read it, and once you have gone through the document, then come here, click on accept the terms of service or terms of selling on ONDC, and then click on save and enable, and ONDC will get enabled. Right. So if very quickly, if we go back to the presentation, we'll try to relate to all the points. So we have understood how to add correct address in Google location. We have done that. We have understood how to enable integrated logistic. Now, one point which I missed out while we were discussing about the integrated logistic is that in case you want to understand how to enable them, we have embedded the tutorial videos also. So here, if you see, there is a tutorial video which is embedded. So you can review the video and you can understand the process, and then you can easily enable. Again, enabling them is very, very simple, very, very easily. So you'll be able to enable them. So that was the second point. The third was input and verify the GST number. That is something that we have understood on enable ONDC tab. So that's where you have to input and you have to click on add GST number. And on the next page, you have to input your GST number and then click on submit. Once that is done, you can come back here and you can move on to the next step, that is provide accurate bank account details. So this is where you have to input the bank account details and the beneficiary address. Once you have done that, then you have to enable ONDC. To enable ONDC, you have to switch this button on. So from disabled, you have to switch it to enabled. You have to accept the terms of selling on ONDC. And finally, you have to click on save and enable. So this is how you are able to switch on ONDC on your online store. But does that mean you're all good to go? Your products will start appearing on the ONDC network? Definitely not. There's a lot of work that you have to do. All right, so let's quickly move on and let's try to understand what all work you have to do. So we will quickly go back to the presentation, and that is where now we will move to understand the product requirements. So this is where we have a longer list. Obviously, upload at least 3 images. So there are certain buyer applications, all the buyer applications are not making it mandatory that you need to upload 3 images, but there are certain buyer applications that are going to sort your product depending on number of images that you have uploaded. It is not like you have to upload 1 million images for the product. You shouldn't do that. But 3 is something that has been indicated by number of buyer applications. So you should also, why should you lose out on your opportunity, right? So you should also try to upload 3 images for each of the product. That is the first requirement. Then both the summary and long description must be added. Now, this is something. So a product has 2 pieces or 2 sections where the description can be added. And in case you're getting confused where all these sections are, so I will be explaining that as well. In fact, in the screenshot, you can see this is where you have the summary and this is where you have the long description. So both the summary and long description should be added. And you have to ensure that the summary and long description, it's between 80 words and 150 words. So 80 words is for minimum is 80 and maximum is 150. So between that, you have to add. And this is combined of summary and long description. So it is not like 80 words each. You haven't to do. So it is 80 combined summary. So this and this section, both the sections combined should be minimum 80 words or maximum 150 words. All right. The next is price should be greater than zero, which is kind of obvious. Why would you be selling a product on zero pricing? The inventory of the product should be greater than zero. If it is four, greater than five. So if it is four, your products will not be displayed. So the moment the inventory goes below five, your products will start, your products will disappear from ONDC in similar terms. So it has to be, you have to ensure that it always remains above five, right? So a lot of time I've seen businesses, they'll add six items. The moment the two orders are received, the product becomes invisible from ONDC. And then again, it takes like 2 days for the products to come back. Again, that is a lose or loss of sale, obviously. So you have to ensure that your inventory always stays above 5 unit, right? Not a very difficult thing to do. The product type should be checkout. So there are two different types of product that you can have on or only store. One is inquiry, second is checkout. So you have to ensure that the product is checkout. Now for that, because this is where I can imagine that you might be getting confused, or at least the members who are not familiar with what is checkout, what is inquiry. So let me quickly open 3 stores and show it to you. So I am going to open one product each from these stores. Let's all right. So this is an example of a checkout product. So as a customer, I can go, I can buy this product, I can do a checkout. So this is a checkout product. This is a send inquiry product. These kind of products at the moment. So once the ONDC B2B is launched, that is where you can show, you will be able to adopt, or you can be able to use or showcase these kind of products as well. But at the moment in the B2C, you are not able to do that. So it should not be, this product will not be visible on ONDC. And this product can be visible. So it has to be send inquiry and add to cart. So we are catering to both type of audience. But if add to cart is not there, only send inquiry is there, then this product will not be visible on ONDC. All right. So I thought of clarifying that. So that was the fifth point. The sixth point is product MOQ should be greater than one. So higher MOQ, right? If you want customers to buy a higher number of units, that is not supported. Product visibility must be either B2C or both. So B2C or both, what does that mean? So like take you to the seller panel, and let's close this just to. So we are back on the seller panel, and I'm very quickly taking you to the product interface. Scrolling down this, where you can see B2C, B2B on both. So what is the difference? And a lot of time B2B sellers believe that because they are a B2B seller, they should be selecting B2B visibility. So B2B is a controlled visibility. It is a visibility which is behind lock and key. So you have to give permission to people to view these products. So obviously it is a restricted visibility, and that is why if it is a restricted visibility, your products cannot be transmitted on the ONDC network and made visible to the public. So you have to choose a visibility which is open, and that is where you have to ensure that the visibility is either B2C or it is both. All right, so that is the point number 7. The point number 8 is product customization should be disabled. So if you're dealing in customizable product like the gifting items where you can get your message printed, your photograph printed, so those kind of products are not supported at the moment on ONDC. In future, we have heard that they'll be rolling out this capability soon. So that is where you can enable that. Product must be mapped to ONDC categories. So that is, you have to ensure that you're linking your products to the ONDC category. ONDC mandatory information should be added. ONDC product attribute should be mapped to the ONDC attribute values, and the specification values should be mapped to the ONDC specification values. So these are the 12 mandatory things or mandatory requirements that you have to ensure that are there on your products, and only then they will be listed on the ONDC network. Now, this is where we have understood, we have gone through the list. Let's quickly move on and let's go to the seller panel and let's try to understand all of these items one by one. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to help you understand the remaining steps. So far we have understood the steps that you have to follow for switching on ONDC on your online store. Now you have to update your products so that they can be made visible on the ONDC network. So what are the steps? Let's try to understand. Now, a very important tip that I'm sharing with you is that before getting started with the bulk process, I always advocate that you should be using bulk process because they are much efficient and you'll be able to save a lot of time and a lot of energy with those processes. But I've seen that because there are so many fields that you have to update, it is possible that you will get confused, right? To avoid that confusion, what you should do is you should update one product manually. You come here and you choose any of the products you would want to update. Right? So let me see if there's any product that I can find and I would want to update. So let's use this product, stylish watch. So you have to click on edit, which is that button. And this interface will open up. On this interface, you'll see there is a tab called Basics tab, which will obviously open up whenever you'll click on edit. And this is where you have to scroll down all the way to the bottom. And that is where you'll see there is an option which says add ONDC related details. You have to click on that, and that will reveal two drop downs, ONDC category and ONDC subcategory. And from here, you have to select the ONDC category. So from this drop down, for example, this happens to be a smartwatch. Yeah, so yeah, it is a smartwatch. So we will just select electronics and we'll select smartwatch and then we'll click on save. Let's do that. And the category mapping is done. So we have done that very simple exercise, and you don't have to do it for more than one product. Just one will help you understand what field goes where so that when you're updating in bulk, you don't get confused. Just the objective of this activity, which I'm sharing with you, this tip that I'm sharing with you, is to help you avoid getting confused because otherwise you may jumble up the columns, right? So instead of adding the right information in column one, you might be adding it in another column, and that will jumble up the information, waste of your time and energy. So this will help you avoid doing that. So you have map the categories and then we have to go to this tab which says price and variant, and this is where you have to click on this icon which looks like a pencil. So it is a edit icon. So you have to click on that, which will open this overlay. On this overlay, once you scroll down, that's where you see ONDC related details. Once again, click on that, and this is where you'll see there are a number of input boxes or input fields which are there. You have to fill in the information into that. So the first one is manufacturer or packer name. So manufacturer or packer name means either the name of the manufacturer or your name, you are the packer. So either of the two. So in case you don't have the manufacturer name, you can input your name and your address as well. The next field is manufacturer address. So we'll just add like dummy business. I'm just adding dummy business name. In your case, you have to add the manufacturer's name or your name, right? Then you have the manufacturer or packer address. Same rule applies there. Ideally, if the manufacturer's address is available, add that. If it is not available, then add your address. So like that, month and year of manufacturer. So like this, then net quantity. So this is going to be 1 unit, and this is from where you have to select from the drop down. Now for electronic items, it has to be G10. If it is a branded item, it is not a branded item, then you can add other. So like this, you can add the value. So because it is a hypothetical product, so I'm adding others. If it is a branded item, then you must add G10, and then you can click on save. Now here I can imagine you must be having this question, like for electronics, it is G10, for other category, what the values is. So I have provided that detail here in the presentation. So in the next slide, we have those details. So for grocery, if the item is a branded item, it has to be EN code, and for non-branded item, others. Also, any unique identifier or uniquely identified value can be added. For fashion, it is HS code. For beauty and personal care, again EN code. If it is branded, and if it is not branded, others. If it is electronic, GTIN, or others for non-branded. For appliances, same, it is a branded item, GTIN, and for non-branded, it is others. Home and kitchen, again, EN code. For branded and for non-branded, others. Others means uniquely identified values. And then home health and wellness, branded item, ETIN, non-branded item, any other uniquely identifiable value. All right, so you will get a copy of this presentation in case you're wondering. Yes, you will get the copy, so you can understand from that. Or you can just come here and you can select the open this solely, and you can see which is the value that needs to be added. So you have to click on save to update this. Once you have updated, once you have done these two steps, then you can update the products in bulk. So that is what I'm going to help you understand now. So once you have updated one product, then you can come here and you can click on downloads ONDC category file, and an Excel file will get downloaded. For the benefit of time, I've already downloaded this file. This is the file which will get downloaded. Now here, you'll see all these columns, and these are all for your information. The only columns where you have to update will be these columns, and they'll certainly be empty. So this is product ID, you have product code, you have product name, summary, description, brand, categories. All these columns are there to help you identify the products. And once you have identified the product, you can do the category mapping. Now, a quick question that gets, or a common question which gets a lot of time asked is, from where we'll know all these categories, right? So do we have to go and check on the seller panel, or is there any other place where we can go and check? So yes, we have given a link here. So here you can see there is a link which is there. So you can open that and it will open a Google Doc. And here you can come. This is what you have to refer to, category, ONDC category list. And here you can select the category. For example, fashion. So here you can see this is the parent category and this is the subcategory. So you have to just copy it from here and paste it. And then again for the subcategory, for example, it is t-shirt. So we can copy it from here and we can go back and paste like that. So once you have done the category mapping, you can save this file, go back to the seller panel and upload it from here. Once this upload is completed, once you have uploaded, so until this upload is not completed and you have a very large catalog, so it will take a few minutes to get completed. So till that time, don't do anything. Wait for the upload to get completed. Wait for this category mapping to get completed. Once this category mapping is completed, then you have to click here where it is written download CSV file, and that will download another Excel file onto your device. This is the file which will get downloaded. I can see in the Q&A, a participant is asking what will happen to the month and year of manufacturer. So all these fields are there in this file. All right. So this is the file which will get downloaded. Now here, if you scroll all the way to the extreme right side, that's where you'll see. So after the filters column, you'll see net unit, weight, manufacturer, etc., month and year of manufacturer. In fact, what you should also do, and this is something which I advise, that when you're working on this file, it is better that you can hide a number of columns which are not necessary. Otherwise, like the file is way too broad for, like, you have to keep scrolling left to right. This is not very efficient. So you can just hide the columns. You don't have to delete. Don't delete the columns, just hide them. So this is where you can see we have like reduced the size of the file. Now it is easier for us to relate to the product. So this is where we have one product. And now if we look here, so we have net unit. Now this is the reason why I had suggested that when you're going through the process, update one product manually, because what will happen, these fields will be updated at least for one product, and then you know where the unit will go, where the kilogram will go, where the weight will go, and where the manufacturer address will go. You don't end up jumbling the columns, and you are updating the information properly. Now here, if we quickly go through the column, so net unit is where you have to specify the unit of measure, right? So what should be the unit? Now, again, you might be getting confused. What should be the unit of measure? And that is where you can go back to that Google sheet, and this is where you have unit of measure. So for weight, you have gram, kilogram, ton. For dimensions, you have centimeter, millimeter. So you can change the drop down. You can select a appropriate value from here, and you can see what should be. So count as unit or dozen. You can input the unit here and then weight. So for example, here, if you look at this is where we have kilograms. So this is 1 kilogram, this is 2 kilogram, 5 kilogram, 10 kilogram. You have to just input the number. You don't have to type 10 and then space kg. No, this is where you're adding the unit, and this is where you're adding the weight. Or if it is 1 unit, you have just adding the number there. Then you have manufacturer or packer name, you have manufacturer or packer address, you have month and year of manufacturer. Sorry. Behind this, and then you have month and year of manufacturer. You can input the values here. Then you have additional codes. So, and this is the, so for example, for these product, it has to be fashion product, it has to be HS code. For grocery item, it has to be EN code or any other code. So other code will come to this column, and the specified code will come to this column. So if you're adding EN code or HS code or GDIN code, it will come to this column. And if it is other value that you're adding, that will come to this column. All right. So once you have added all this information, it will be, you have to save this file. So I can see Bipinji has asking in the Q&A, the format for the month and year will be MM and YYY. All right. So it is month and year of manufacturing. So once you have added all this, then you can save this file, and then you can go back to the seller panel. Where do we have the seller panel? Here we have. So you have to go back to the seller panel and upload the file from here. You have to click on bulk edit CSV, which will upload this file. Once you have uploaded the file, that is where you have done the mapping and you have added the ONDC mandatory information. You have done that, but is that the end? No, there are 2 more steps that you have to go through. And for those 2 steps, you have to go to My Store in the left navigation, and then you'll see there is an option which says ONDC dashboard. So you have to click on that, and it will reveal there are 2 steps. So obviously you have to go through them in the order. So step 1, and then you have to go through step 2. So you have to download the attribute file from here. You have to click on download attributes, and which will download an Excel file onto your device. So this is the file which will get downloaded. You'll see it is populated now. One point which I would want to clarify, or 2 points related to this file. This file will only have values if your products have attributes. So for example, same t-shirt available in different colors and different sizes, or same moisturizer or shampoo available in different bottle sizes. So if you have added or created attributes and you have mapped those products to the ONDC category, only then they will be visible here. Otherwise, they'll not be visible. So point number 1, if you have mapped the product to the ONDC category, and point number 2, if you have added the attributes, only then they will be visible here. So a lot of time we are getting a question from the participant like, our file is entirely blank. What is happening? So because you haven't added a variant, that is why it is appearing, or the products that you deal in does not have variant. That is why this is, so this is only the variant mapping. So for example, if you have created a size variant or color variant, so you can see on the Excel file, let me just zoom in a little bit more so that you can see it in a better way. So all these columns which you are seeing here up till this column, all these will be pre-populated. So it will already have that. Information system will do that for you. Now, the remaining 2 columns is something that you have to input. So let's try to understand with an example. So if you take this row as an example, so this is where there is a product and it is in green color. It is mapped to fashion category and it is mapped to t-shirt category, and the basis of variation. So now here we have to, we see the attribute is color. So you have to select color from here. You can select it like this, and then the color is green. Here you can see it is green. So we have to search for green. So you can search like this. All right. Now, related to this particular thing which I did, I have seen sometime on Microsoft Office when you are trying to do this, it does not work. So you can use Open Office or this is WPS, I think. Again, a free Excel software. You can download and use it, and it helps you search, right? There are 1,500 values for color, so it's practically impossible for you to manually scroll down through them, but you can easily search here. All right. So now the second row, if we look at, that's where we have size. So, and which is small. So we can select the size from the drop down, and we can select the relevant value from here. Right. So that's how you have to update this. Now there will be categories for which ONDC has not specified the values. So in that case, leave them blank. So it is not necessary you have to map something. So you end up mapping, and that creates wrong information, and your product gets rejected, and it will impact your ranking as well, right? So it is not like it will only impact your visibility. If bad applications find out that you're sending wrong information, they will negatively rank you, so which will impact your business in the long run. So you should avoid doing that. So if you're not able to find, so for example, here we have quantity or size, and for grocery, if we are not seeing any values, you don't have to manually create something here, or you have to select something else. You should not be doing that. You should just leave them blank, or reach out to us and we can guide you that what you should be mapping here. In case you're getting confused, you can reach out to us and one of our team member will be able to guide you. All right. So once you have done this mapping, save the file and upload it from here. Once the upload is completed, then you should download the specification file. Again, till the upload is not complete, don't download this file. Once this is completed and you see the success notification, then you come here, you download the file, and it will download this file. This will be heavier file. It will have a lot more rows. And for each row, again, system will do the heavy lifting, and it will create all these columns for you. And this is the column that you have to update. Icon is optional to you. If you have icons, you can upload it, but this is the column that you have to update. Again, you have to go row by row. So for example, what is the gender of the product? It is male. What is the color? You can select it from here. What is the fabric, cotton, size chart? You can upload it on the seller panel from the media manager section. I'll just quickly show you. So if you go down here, this is where you'll see media manager, from where there you can upload the size chart very easily. So for example, we have QR code here. I'm just showing an example. So you can use upload file, you can upload the size chart image onto your device, and then you will get a URL. You copy that URL, and then you come here and you copy paste it. Then you have brand. So brand name is, so for example, Super is a brand name. So you can import it here. This is other products. So right. So what is the model number, screen size, weight, length, all that you can add here. Again, when you're adding like length, width, use the units of measures which we have specified here. So for dimensions, it will be centimeter and millimeter. So when you are specifying the length, it will be in centimeters, and when you are specifying the weight, it will be in grams. All right. For electronic items, obviously. Right. So you have to input all these fields. Now, the important point to understand here is that there will be two types of fields here. One is mandatory and others are optional. Now, mandatory is something, if you are not adding the values, your products will not be visible on ONDC, right? So the system itself will limit those products, restrict those products. It will not send them for being visible on ONDC. So mandatory is like bare minimum that you have to provide information, but you are here to do business, right? So that is why you are doing all this. And that is why it is important that you provide information for as many fields as possible. Ideally, for all of them. If not possible, provide for as many of them as possible, because the richer the information, higher will be the prospect of your product being visible in front of the customers, and higher will be the prospects of you getting an order from those customers. So that is why it is crucial that you're adding information for as many fields as possible. Mandatory is bare minimum that you have to do. You must do, otherwise you'll not be able to list. But additional is something which I would recommend, or why I would request you should do that. That is how you will get better visibility. All right. So once you have updated this file, uh, go back to the seller panel and then upload this file. So this once you have uploaded this file, that is where you have completed the steps. You have completed the journey. So now let's quickly go through the minimum requirements that we have listed here. So upload at least 3 images. So how do you check for those? So if you have uploaded images, like you have uploaded the product in bulk, or if you have uploaded images for each of the variants, so those can be quickly seen using this file. So this is the variant file that we have updated, where we had added the manufacturer and packer name, etc. So we'll have to unhide the columns. Let's quickly do that. So here you'll see there is this column, variant image and comma separated image. So the cover image will be displayed, the URL of the cover image is displayed here. All the other images will be comma separated. But this will only be displayed if you have added the images for each of the variant. If you haven't added the images for each of the variant, those will not be displayed. If you have uploaded the images for the product level, then those will not be displayed here. Those we'll have to check manually. Both the summary and long description must be added. How do you check that? For that, you have to use another file. So if sorry. For that, you have to use another file. If we go to the product management section very quickly, that is where you'll see there is this file, which is download products. And if you download that file, uh, it will look very similar to the ONDC category mapping file, but it will have summary and description. So you can quickly apply a formula in Excel, LEN, and then select. So it will show you how many characters are there. So ideally, it should be around 500 characters. So if the summary description has 500 characters, summary and the long description combined has 500 characters, then that's where your description is good enough. So you can very quickly check that using the Excel file. Right. So that was the second point. The third point is around the price. How do you check that? And for that, you can use the variant file where we added the manufacturer name, etc. So that's where you have the price and inventory column. So you can check whether price is above 0, inventory is above 5. I keep the product type should be checkout. How do you check and update that? So for that, you can use the product file. This is where you have the column product type. So it has to be checkout if it is inquiry. So for example, these products will not be visible on ONDC. You can change that. The product MOQ should be greater than 1. So you can edit the product and see what is the MOQ. This is where you have to do it manually, or you may know that what kind of MOQ you have added. So this is where you can see the minimum order quantity. So it has to be 1. Product customization should be disabled. So product customization can be checked from here. So if you haven't enabled, if you have not activated, you will know. But if you have to cross check, you can come here and you can check if the customization is enabled. My PC is acting up. Product must be a map to ONDC category. The other 4 steps is something that we have already discussed with the steps. So this is how you have to update the product so that you can start showcasing or listing your products on the ONDC. This presentation will also have these slides wherein we have explained what kind of codes are required, and we have the unit of measures also listed here. All right. So this is where I am going to switch off the screen share, and we are going to break into the question answer round. So this is where, if you have questions, I can see there is one question which is added. So I'll review that. The first question, because I've already answered the questions from Bipin so that is already discussed during the session. The next question I can see is from Really Exim. ONDC is for B2C. So at the moment, it is for B2C. B2B will be coming up in some time. And the remaining question, the quantum of consignment, etc., from your side are relevant to B2B only. So not relevant to the current construct of ONDC. Uh, Next question from Sahil. ONDC currently works for physical deliveries only. Yeah. Uh, Next question from Ravinder Singh. So his question is, how will we check whether our products are displayed on the ONDC network? Quite simple. There are a number of buyer applications. You can go and you can search by your business name and you can see that you are listed as a seller and your products are visible there. Very easily you can check that. ONDC is working on creating an MIS, but that will not be visible to or accessible to individual sellers. Those will be accessible to the seller network participants like ours, and we can see how many of our sellers are visible where. So that is something which will be created by ONDC and will be available to us. But as a seller, if you want to check, you can easily go to the ONDC bar application and there you can go and check. Next question is from Sahil again, and his question is there a no return policy for the product ONDC? That is the flexibility which ONDC is aiming to provide to the sellers that you are the controller or you have the control and you're deciding what should be the policy, right? Again, it should not be totally exploitative, wherein you should ideally be giving for some room for defective items, etc. So you should be accommodating that, but you can decide whether you would want to give returns or you would not want to give return. Absolutely, as a seller, you have that control. And the duration as well. So you want to give return for accept return for 7 days, 5 days, 10 days, 30 days, 60 days, entirely your decision. Next participant is asking for my contact details. That is something that I will certainly be sharing. So give me a couple of moments to do that. I am also sharing my contact details with everyone here, so you can connect with me. Next question is where can we find the recording? So you can go to our YouTube channel and that's where you can find the recordings. I will give the link of our YouTube channel. Just give me a quick second to do that. Or if you have to attend future sessions, I will also share with you where can you find details about the future sessions that we'll be conducting. All right, so I've shared the link of our YouTube channel, and the other part of the question was, where will we get the details of the future sessions that we will be conducting? For that, I will very quickly start sharing my screen and show you where we will be. So this is the seller panel. So if you go to your account and you go to resources and then you click on events, that's where you'll see the various webinars and workshop that we'll be conducting. So the next one will be happening on 9th and 12th and all. So you can review and participate. So resources and then events, from where you can get the information about the future webinars. Right, let's move on. Next question from Bipinji. So Bipinji, drop me an email about that, and I will have someone from my team check out your store, and we can update you what are the issues or updates that you have to do on your store. So next question, Ravindra Singh. So about 8, 9 bar applications are there, and the number is growing. Or I think about 15 seller network participant overall, including logistic and payment providers. I think for about 50 operators are there. Next question from Sahil for the delivery partner. So we have pre-integrated logistic operators like Mamaship and ShipRocket. You can use their services. His question is around how will we do the delivery. So for that, you can use ShipRocket or Mamaship for delivering the order. So those are pre-integrated on the platform. Next question is from Rashmi. Our question is, do we have to upload all the products? Yes, you will have to upload the products similar to how you have done on other platforms. That was the last question. I will also quickly review the chat. I can see there's a question how to register on GlobalLinker or ONDC. I think that is something we have discussed in detail, but you'll get the recording of this webinar and you'll be able to understand. I can see there's a comment by Sai Rohit. If the GlobalLinker website is down, our products will get affected. Yes, it will get affected if it goes down, but that is highly unlikely because we have a PCI DSS certified infrastructure, and your products will be visible on all the bar applications. I can see there is someone wanting to integrate some logistic company. So, Mr. Joyjeet Roy, drop me an email and I'll see about that requirement. I'm again sharing my contact details here for everyone's reference. Please do feel free to reach out to me if you need any help, assistance, clarification, or you need advice. Please do feel free to reach out to me. My contact details are there in the chat. So I've added that once again in the chat. All right, so this is where I think we should conclude this session for today. Thank you everyone for taking our time and participating in the session. I hope you found this session informative and you'll all get the recording of this session. I've added my email ID here, so please do feel free to reach out to me if you need help, assistance, or if you are getting stuck. Do feel free to reach out, and I will see that we are getting your problem resolved. All right. There's one question from Vipinji. He's asking, so there was an initiative that we had started some time back, one-to-one mentorship. That is, he's asking in the Q&A. So Vipinji, we'll be starting that soon. There were a few urgent projects that we were working on, so we very soon will be starting on that. All right, so this is where let's conclude this session for today. Thank you everyone for taking our time and participating in the session. Hope you found the session informative, and yeah, let's try to be in touch. I look forward to connecting with you in the next session that we'll be doing soon. All right, so thank you and have a wonderful evening ahead. Bye bye from our side for now.